What if you could see America change before your eyes, one photo at a time? In this video, we're diving into 100 powerful then and now photos of America, each one packed with history, memory, and change. Get ready for a nostalgic ride you won't forget. Welch, West Virginia downtown, once a thriving hub shaped by coal and courage, grew brick by brick along the Appalachian Hills. Its changing streets, frozen in photographs, trace the rise and resilience of a town built on grit and hope. Homowack Lodge, Borscht Belt, New York once rang with the clatter of bowling balls and summer laughter among its Hasidic guests. Now, its empty corridors echo a forgotten era, closed long ago as safety concerns rusted its pride away. The Pines, Fallsburg, New York, 1950s to recent times, once buzzed with music, laughter, and summer joy. Today, its hollow halls and decaying walls preserve only fragments of the memories that once filled the air. From 1911 to 1938, Kennecott mines in Alaska churned out copper worth $200 million, powering an industrial age. Today, its ghostly ruins are slowly being revived, echoing the spirit of those who once called it home. Lackawanna Railroad, Sussex Branch, New Jersey, 1911 to 2021, once thundered with steam and steel. Today, trails weave through the woods where trains once ran, offering a path shaped by history rather than commerce. The 1967 postcard from the Poconos captures golden days of sunbathing and trail rides. Where laughter once echoed through the trees, only fading traces remain of summers filled with sunlight and untroubled joy. 1947, Chevrolet and Diner. Two teens once leaned on that hood, sharing milkshakes and laughter beneath neon lights. 63 years later, the car and the corner still whisper stories of simpler times and generations bound by memory. Poconos Dining Hall, once filled with clinking dishes and laughter, now lies hushed beneath moss-covered carpets. The vibrant reds and oranges fade gently into memory, echoing a past no longer heard. Matt's Family Homestead, Wisconsin, 1907 to September 2024, stood tall among fields, filled with generations of laughter and labor. Now erased from the landscape, its loss leaves a hollow space where roots once ran deep. Grossinger's indoor pool, unveiled in 1958 with Elizabeth Taylor among its first guests, once shimmered with opulence and light. Now, its cracked tiles and silent halls echo the grandeur that time could not preserve. Central Park, New York City, during the Great Depression, once a place of leisure, it turned into a refuge of desperation. By the early 1930s, makeshift shanties lined its edges, built by families clinging to hope amid overwhelming loss. Rhyolite, Nevada rose with the promise of gold, only to fall silent after the 1907 crash. Its crumbling ruins now whisper stories to those brave enough to wander its wind-blown streets. The Hollywood sign, first raised in 1923, as Hollywoodland, once sold dreams through real estate letters. By 1949, the land vanished, but the sign endured, reborn in 1978 as a lasting symbol of stardom and reinvention. The Pines Hotel in South Fallsburg, New York, once shimmered with the laughter of vacationers seeking escape in the Borscht Belt, but as airplanes took flight, the hotel fell silent, fading into a haunting shadow of lost glamour. Pennsylvania Avenue and the Capitol, Washington, D.C., 1860, lined with muddy tracks and horse-drawn hopes, it framed a rising nation. As the cast-iron dome took shape, so did America's restless spirit, bold, unyielding, and still in the making. Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, opened in 1829 with echoes of reform, but its harsh walls later confined legends like Al Capone. Closed in 1971, it now stands silent, a haunting museum of justice and forgotten souls. Which photo in this video brought back the strongest memory for you? Please share your thoughts in the comments. West Main Street, Kent, Ohio, before 1910, was a stretch of handcrafted storefronts lit by gaslight and full of charm. Over the decades, those corners evolved with the nation, their changes etched into every brick and beam. The Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio looms as a silent guardian of dark tales, its stone walls whispering echoes of inmates' footsteps. Visitors and ghost hunters tread its shadowed corridors, drawn by the prison's chilling legacy and haunting atmosphere. Chicago Water Tower, 1871, a lone survivor in a city turned to ash. Still standing today, it honors the grit of a reborn Chicago and the dawn of a skyline that rose from smoke and sorrow. City Hall Subway Station, opened in 1904 beneath the bustling heart of New York City, was Rafael Guastavino's architectural masterpiece, its elegant arches whispering history. Though closed since 1945, the station's silent grandeur endures, revealed only to fortunate visitors on special tours. Cleveland, Ohio's Playhouse Square in 1928, shimmered with marquees and velvet-lined dreams. Nearly a century later, its glow returns, restored and alive, bridging the glamour of yesterday with the pulse of today's city streets. Houston Astrodome, Houston, Texas, opened in 1965 with awe and ambition, hailed as the eighth wonder of the world. Today, its echoing halls speak not of crowds, but of resilience, now sheltering those in need. Route 44 and Route 18, Rootstown Center, Ohio, in 1947, was just a crossing where farmers waved from pickups. By 2023, pavement widened and traffic thickened, but that old town heart still beats beneath the asphalt. Miracle Strip Park in Florida, once alive with laughter and the thrill of the Starliner coaster since 1963, saw its final ride in 2004. Now replaced by condos, its echoes live on in sunlit memories of summer joy. 476, Broadway, New York, 1870-2023, remains anchored in place amid a skyline that never stops shifting. Its ornate facade, born of another era, speaks to a city that honors its past, even as it reinvents itself. Grossinger's pool amenities in Catskills, New York, once dazzled with heated tiles and chandeliers that shimmered above elegant gatherings. Today, its faded grandeur lingers, echoing a time when luxury defined every detail of resort life. Las Vegas, 1925, just dust, tracks, and cattle beneath a blazing desert sun. When the Hoover Dam began in 1931, the frontier stirred with ambition, planting the seeds of a neon empire destined to dazzle the world. Joyland Amusement Park in Wichita opened in 1949, thrilling generations with its legendary wooden coaster. After a tragic accident in 2004 led to its closure by 2006, its silent rides now stand as poignant reminders of laughter and loss. San Francisco LGBTQ Center, 1979 to 2024, born from courage and built on community, it stood as a lifeline in times of struggle. Today, it remains a proud beacon of identity, resilience, and the fight for dignity and love. Goldfield Hotel, Goldfield, Nevada, once a beacon of desert luxury, now stands weathered and whispering. Its empty halls echo with stories of prosperity, decline, and the ghostly footsteps of time refusing to be forgotten. Did any of these places remind you of where you grew up? We'd love to hear your story. Deadwood, South Dakota Main Street, 1860s to 2022, once roared with saloons, spurs, and gold dust in the air. Now, its wooden facades stand still, preserving the echoes of a wild frontier that time refused to tame. Grossinger's Resort in the Catskills once dazzled with elegance and laughter, drawing stars like Jerry Lewis. Since its 1986 closure, moss creeps over once glamorous gazebos, nature reclaiming what high society left behind. San Francisco before the Golden Gate Bridge, 1868, when the vast strait shimmered untouched and the view from Telegraph Hill stretched wide and wild. Decades later, steel would span that silence, with a symbol known worldwide. Boblo Island, Ontario, where laughter once rang from a zoo, Ferris wheel, and dance hall since 1898. Though it closed in 1993, the island's past now fades beneath new developments built over long-lost delight. Mount Rushmore, 1930s. Dust and dynamite carved the beginning of a nation's tribute into solid granite. As George Washington's likeness emerged, so too did an enduring symbol of ambition, identity, and the hands that shaped both. Letchworth Village, Thiels, New York, once echoing with troubled voices and whispered secrets, now stands in haunting silence. Its crumbling halls bear witness to a past marked by sorrow, shadows, and the forgotten lives within. Store and residence of W. Kimmel, Rootstown, Ohio, circa 1908, where commerce met family under one roof, and neighbors gathered more for company than goods. In that modest frame stood the pulse of a town, stitched together by shared routine. Summers in the Poconos once shimmered with joy, cabins filled, kids splashed, laughter carried on the breeze. Today, fading paint and silence whisper stories only the trees still remember. Miami Beach, from the early 1900s to the mid-20th century, bloomed from windswept sandbar to coastal jewel. What was once untouched shoreline became a shining symbol of ambition, luxury, and sun-soaked American dreams. 70s Poconos architecture once dazzled with futuristic flair, sweeping lounges and sculpted lobbies built to impress. Though time has weathered its edges, the silhouette still stands like a memory, frozen in bold ambition. Erie Canal, Lockport, New York, 1890 to 2021, once buzzed with barges and trade, driving growth through the heart of a young America. Today, its calm surface mirrors the legacy of those who shaped history with shovels and resolve. Congress Avenue, Austin, Texas, 1901, a street where progress marched proudly toward the Capitol, yet horses still clattered on cobblestone. It's a place where old-world charm brushed against the edge of modern ambition. Boston's Big Dig, an urban gamble decades in the making, tore up streets and tunneled dreams beneath the city. After 20 years of noise, dust, and debate, it reshaped Boston's heart from concrete chaos into something closer to calm. Manhattan's elevated trains, 1920s to 1980s, once roared above the streets, hauling freight and dreams through the skyline. Today, the High Line thrives with greenery and walkers, transforming steel and motion into a garden path above the city. Central Park skating, 1890, to laced boots carved across frozen lakes as laughter echoed beneath the Dakota apartments. Built in 1858, the park gave New Yorkers a rare moment of peace in the rhythm of an ever-moving city. Historic Road, 1860 to 1930s. Once carved by wagon wheels and weary boots, this path bore the hopes of pioneers. Through dust and distance, it connected frontier lives, leaving behind echoes of perseverance etched in earth and time. Love time traveling through old photos like these? Hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss what we uncover next. McConkey's Ferry Inn, Taylorsville, Pennsylvania, early 1900s to 2022, remains by the trail, its stone walls marked by generations of passage. Once a haven for travelers, it now greets hikers with traces of a slower, humbler era. Georgeville Road and Sullivan Avenue, 1950s to 2022, once a spot where kids raced bikes and neighbors waved from porches. Now, the traffic lights blink where laughter once echoed, but the corner still carries that small-town grin. JFK's Boston apartment in 1959 stood modest and unassuming, yet within those walls lived a man destined to shape history. Today, in 2024, the building endures, quietly honoring the legacy of a leader who once called it home. Abraham Lincoln Statue Installation, Washington, D.C., 1920. Stone and vision merged as artisans carved more than a likeness. The nation gathered, witnessing its principles rise in marble, a tribute to endurance, unity, and unshakable purpose. Unlucky House, San Francisco, 1936 to 2022. Same spot, same curse. Decades roll by, but somehow cars still treat that poor house like it owes them money. Car crash, Brooklyn, 1941. Steel met steel on a street where horns and hurried lives clashed daily. It's a frozen moment from a grittier era, when city blocks bustled and traffic laws were more like friendly suggestions. Vandenboom Chair Factory, Quincy, Illinois, 1880 to 2018, stood as a backbone of craft in an age of steam and sweat. Its worn brick and timber whispered of calloused hands, handmade pride, and a time when factories shaped towns. Hoover Dam water level, July 1983 to December 2022, once brimming with promise, now etched with the marks of time and drought. The receding shoreline tells a story of climate, change, and what we've taken for granted. Charleston, South Carolina, 1865, reduced to ruins after Sherman's shelling, its streets filled with rubble and grief. Yet St. Michael's Church, built in 1761, endured the flames as a lasting emblem of faith beyond destruction. Daniel Plainview's house, Los Angeles, 1900s to today, once fueled by oil wealth and steeped in solitude, its walls carried the weight of empire. Now a fading relic, it marks the cost of an era shaped by relentless ambition. Hibernian Hall, Charleston, South Carolina, once a vibrant hub before the Civil War, endured the harsh marks of Union shelling. Today, its aged columns remain upright, carrying the weight of fellowship, flame, and unshaken resilience. Ada, Ohio, 1938 to today, where time glides gently through maple-lined streets and front porches, whisper stories. Though modern frames fill the view, the soul of this town still glows with the elegance of simpler, slower days. Rootstown Township School, Ohio, 1917 to 2015, rose with timber and chalk, where generations traced lessons on slate and dreams in notebooks. Though walls expanded and hallways changed, its spirit still carries the echo of childhood mornings past. Bathgate Avenue, Bronx, 1936, alive with street vendors, shouting kids, and the clatter of pushcarts during the Great Depression. Through hardship, the Bronx pulsed with grit and spirit, each corner echoing with stories of survival and strength. Broad Boulevard steamer car, early 1900s, when steam hissed and wheels turned like clockwork on polished rails. Though the road remains, That elegant marvel endures now only through worn photographs and stories passed down. Have you ever explored an abandoned place like the ones shown in this video? What did it feel like? Main Street, US 40, Scenery Hill, Pennsylvania, lined with porches, diners, and stories since early days. Though time has brought new pavement and passing cars, its heart still beats with the warmth of a town that remembers. Los Angeles, California, then and now, tells a story written in skyline shifts and sunlit sprawl. What began as dusty promise has grown into a city of dreams, layered with decades of reinvention, ambition, and unstoppable change. Lead and Dines Building, Tempe, Arizona, from the late 1900s to now, still holds its place among glass and steel. Time has dressed the street in new skin, but this brick landmark keeps the town's early heartbeat alive. Synagogue turned Buddhist temple, 1986 to present, once filled with Hebrew prayers, now resonates with Buddhist chants. This sacred space, shaped by decades of devotion, carries the layered voices of two enduring spiritual paths. 80 and 86, Monroe Falls Avenue, Monroe Falls, Ohio. Built in the early 1900s, these homes once rang with front porch chatter. Today, they remain rooted in place, bearing the marks of decades in small-town American life. Union Soldiers at Price, Birch and Company, Alexandria, Virginia, once a house of unspeakable suffering, marked by chains and silence. In 1860s stillness, soldiers stood where lives were sold. Today, a plaque whispers the truth too long buried. Building Fire, New Bedford, Massachusetts, 1965. An ordinary day turned to ash as flames devoured brick and memory. Smoke curled through the streets, leaving behind a blackened shell and silence where stories once lived. 100th Meridian, Cozad, Nebraska, 1866 to today, once marked the edge where rail met wild frontier. A silent sentinel now, it stands not just for tracks laid, but for the restless spirit that pushed America ever westward. Beaufort and Darby Avenues, Porter Ranch, Los Angeles. In 1982, it was where bikes lifted off into movie magic. Today, those same streets preserve the spirit of E.T., etched into curbs that once launched a cinematic legend. The Sahara Lounge, Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, 1961. Once alive with danger and drama, its faded facade remains, holding the echoes of a mob tale that Hollywood etched into legend. Harvey Milk's Castro Camera Shop, from its humble 1975 storefront to its 2024 presence, still holds the spirit of a movement, where snapshots once developed alongside dreams for equality and change. Manhattan Bridge, 1908 to 2021. What began as steel suspended over dreams now anchors generations. From its skeletal rise to its modern grace, this landmark threads together past ambition and present-day resilience. San Francisco, 1920 to 2020, where hills once framed scattered homes, towers, and transit now shape the skyline. A century of transformation has reshaped coastal charm into a bold and ever-changing urban mosaic. Studio 54, New York City, 1980 to 2024, where glitter once fell like confetti on legends of the night, now stands reimagined, echoing whispers of its glamorous, untamed past through modern walls that remember every beat. At Arlington House in the 1860s, Federal General Heintzelman stood where Robert E. Lee once called home, two histories clashing beneath one roof, now preserved as a solemn witness to America's divided past. Myersdale, Pennsylvania, once echoed with the whistle of the Western Maryland Railroad in the early 1900s. By 2021, its weathered station remains, a proud relic of an age powered by steam and the pulse of progress. 2,445 State Road, from sweet glaze to spinning wheels, this 1959 Krispy Kreme now pedals forward as a bike shop. Decades later, its long-hidden windows once again let in the light of change and memory. 21 Pearl Street, New York City, 1890s to 2024. Once lined with gas lamps and horse-drawn carts, this corner now pulses with glass towers and city noise, echoing the vibrant evolution of Manhattan's ever-changing heart. Old Town Center, Chester, Massachusetts, 1892 to 2024. Weathered bricks and wooden trims recall a bygone rhythm, while today's pace winds itself around the town's enduring core, blending history with the life that carries on. From the same bench, the New York City skyline in 1957 revealed a modest horizon. By 2021, steel giants dominated the view. Each towering line marks a chapter of ambition, transformation, and the ever-climbing pulse of the city. Lincoln Conspirators House, Washington, D.C., 1865 to now. Inside these historic walls, a plot once unfolded that shook a nation, its legacy etched deep into the story of America's most turbulent hour. Hamilton, Montana, captured in 1942 and revisited in 2018, stands as a lasting symbol of small-town endurance. Weathered storefronts and changing skylines echo generations of grit, growth, and unwavering spirit. Central Avenue and Adams Street in Phoenix, Arizona, 1920s to 2024, once buzzed with Model T engines and desert grit. Today, glass towers and traffic hum, where a young city first carved its name into the sun-baked landscape. Honolulu, Hawaii in the late 19th century, its shores transformed into a vibrant crossroads of commerce and belief. Under swaying palms, sandalwood and sugar drew ships and strangers into a place forever altered by ambition and exchange. J. Uplinger, groceries, and the Stowe Monroe Barber Shop in Monroe Falls, Ohio, offered more than goods and trims. They were the heartbeat of a simpler time. Around the 1900s, these storefronts stitched daily life into the fabric of a close-knit town. Speck Bakery's horseback delivery in 1932 brought fresh cookies and cupcakes straight to your doorstep, an old-world charm where flour-dusted saddlebags and hoofbeats replaced digital pings and delivery apps. Early Los Angeles skyline, once a low sprawl, stood modest beside the steel and glass towers of 2001. Each new rise marks a chapter of ambition, shaping the city skyward with every generation's bold pursuit. Miami Erie Canal in St. Mary's, Ohio, 1949 to today, once carried the steady rhythm of canal boats and local trade. Though reshaped by time, it continues to reflect the legacy of a route that fueled the heartland's growth. Great Frederick Fair, Frederick, Maryland, 1949 to 2023, where laughter, livestock, and lemonade have woven a timeless tapestry. Each passing decade adds another thread to this cherished celebration of community and heritage. 100 rare vintage photos that take you back in time. Southern Pacific Steam Engine, Kern Oil Fields near Bakersfield, K. 1908. Cleaning device, 1950s. Street in Yokohama, 1908. Macaroni cellars in Naples, circa 1890. Ruins of Persepolis, Persia, circa 1923. A Young Grace Kelly in New York City, 1950s. Typical U.S. corner grocery store of the early 1900s with horse-drawn carts and grocers ready to serve. Can you forgive an enemy? God will. Our job is to arrange the meeting. Al Capone. A couple of dapper photographers, 1920s. The Blues Brothers, ... The Munsters, 1964. People, please notice when you're happy. Kurt Vonnegut with his dog Pumpkin. 1982. December 21st, 1898. French chemists Pierre and Marie Curie discovered the radioactive element radium. A postman delivering Christmas gifts. Chicago, USA, 1929. School children in a Catholic neighborhood of Belfast posing with a British soldier. Northern Ireland, May 13, 1981. The sole survivor, 17-year-old Juliane Kopka, fell from a Lockheed L-188 Electroplane after it was struck by lightning. December 21, 1984. The USSR successfully launched the Vega 2 interplanetary probe to study planets in the solar system. British soldiers escort Germans into a theater to watch a documentary about Nazi regime crimes. Winston Churchill pulling out a cigar from his case, formerly of the Cuban brand La Aroma de Cuba. Artist and fashion designer, Salvador Dalí and Coco Chanel, France, 1938. The first flight of the Wright brothers, inventors and builders of the first airplane. St. Louis Street, early 20th century. A young Bill Clinton, USA, 1960s. Tuscany, Italy, 1950s. Director Sergei Eisenstein in Mexico, 1931. Men having lunch on truck in front of shop of café and liqueurs. Paris, late May 1917. Peasants watching a movie. Russia, mid-1920s. Boston, Massachusetts, circa 1906. How to make an officer kneel. California, USA, 1969. Louise Brooks, by Eugene Robert Ritchie. For Now We're in the Air, 1927. Tamil Coolie Plucking Tea Leaf, K 1875. Audrey Hepburn and a Little Christmas Tree, USA, 1950s. Railroad Yards, Atlanta, Georgia, 1864. Max Frisch, 1915 to 1991. Swiss writer and playwright. Success doesn't change people, it just reveals who they truly are. Flappers drinking bootleg alcohol, U.S., 1925. The tallest man the world has ever known, Fyodor Makhno. Height, 285 centimeters. Weight, approximately 182 kilograms. 1900s. Record store, 1960s. Soviet I-153. Chaika fighters over Sevastopol, Crimea, 1941. Observing Mars, 1926. Doris May with gifts from her fans, Hollywood, 1921. Beside a large traction engine, early 1900s. December 26, 1933, Edwin H. Armstrong patented the wideband FM radio. A woman wearing a crinoline being dressed with the aid of long poles to lift her dress over the hoops. London, circa 1860s. On this day in 1911, the first hydroplane flight was made in the USA by pilot Glenn Curtiss. The Flatiron, 1904, by Edward Steichen. Theodore Roosevelt with his favorite parrot, Eli. 1872. The Kruger sisters dress up as men, circa 1910s. I love anyone whose thoughts go beyond a bucket of popcorn. Steven Spielberg. Young John Lennon, musician, singer, poet, composer, artist, writer, and a founder of the legendary The Beatles. In science, every new perspective brings a revolution in technical terms. Friedrich Engels. Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder, 1990. The magic is near. A pre-New Year's shop window. USSR, 1955. The Beatles. Milan, La Scala, 1964. The U.S. women's basketball team under 16 versus their peers from El Salvador. American actress Marilyn Hare headed to the front lines to kiss 10,000 soldiers to boost morale. An ice cream show. London, UK, 1934. Sigmund Freud posing for sculptor Oscar Neumon, 1931. Renault Dauphine, 1956 to 1968. Photo from 1956. A line for buses after a train crash in Farringdon, London, UK, May 31st, 1955. Salvador Dalí and his wife and muse, Gala, 1930s. At the intersection of Steep and Trenchard Streets in Bristol, England, 1866. The first Zeppelin, LZ-1, 1900. A girl with a snake between her teeth. Vintage postcard. Japan, 1890s. On this day in 1911, Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen's expedition reached the South Pole for the first time. English electronic engineer and lead designer at EMI, Alan Dower Blumlein, patented the two-channel audio recording system, now known as stereo. Anna Karenina, 1940 to 2019, and Jean-Paul Belmondo in Jean-Luc Godard's cult film, A Woman is a Woman, 1961. Young ladies in the middle of a gymnastics session along the sea in Deauville, France, on July 22, 1937. 1950. Beach fashions. Vintage bikini. Artist tattooing the back of a woman. Tokyo, Japan, 1946. Ideal husband as Lady Gertrude Chiltern. Motor. Zweirad, 1885. A heated VW Sirocco rally crew after a successful race. Germany, 1977. Tarlo, Katz, a revolutionary. Photo from the Russian Police Surveillance Department's Katz 13.108 archives, early 1910s. A girls' apple eating contest in the 1950s. The wedding of John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Bouvier, USA, September 12, 1953. Two sun-loving girls enjoying a day at the beach, circa 1960s. Father Frost and Snow Maiden welcoming guests at the Children's Musical Theater, USSR, 1979. Photo by Alexander Sentsov. Pasquale Tarafo with his harp guitar, 1910. Father Frost and Snow Maiden greeting visitors by the New Year's tree. Two men stand by a Coca-Cola delivery truck. Circa 1910. Young people posing with their automobiles. Circa 1910. Postcard seller, Paris, 1911. Buffalo soldiers on bicycle patrol in Yellowstone National Park, 1896. Lady with umbrella, K, 1900. The Flatiron, Madison Square, New York, 1916. Young woman in swimsuit on the beach, barefoot in cheesecake pose, Santa Monica, California, 1933. A view from the Central Plaza, Berlin, 1920s. (1930s) family posing backwards portrait. Woman in a cedar tree, Stanley Park, Vancouver, British Columbia, 1897. They barely had enough help to push the car out of the mud. Customers drinking at the portable milk bar at Waterloo Station, 1st June 1937. Victorian lady on the 1900s. A group of Soviet hippie girls, the Flower Children, on the frozen ground of developed socialism, Moscow, 1988. Advertisement for reliable stove, Denver, Colorado, 1890. All the Beatles needed for a tour, no need to order 200 trucks. Norway, 1890s. Julie Andrews, 1967. Romanian leader Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife Elena being led to execution from the tribunal hall. Ladies at the beauty salon, 1930s. My only Christmas wish is peace for all the children of the world. Audrey Hepburn with her son Sean, Switzerland, 1962. Billboards in Times Square, early 1900s. Future ballet and movie star Maris Liepa as a child, Riga, Latvia, 1938. A Day in Barcelona, Spain, 1960s. Amusement park in Venice, Los Angeles, California, April 1942. Saint-Jacques Tower, Paris, 1890s. New York street scene, circa 1900. Two girls in bathing suits, circa 1920s. Trocadero Theatre, London, 1934. Delivering milk with a dog cart, Belgium, circa 1880. Springfield Cowgirls, Massachusetts, SAT, the circa 1930s. Sword for the Motherland Calls Monument, Kyiv, USSR, 1981. Audrey Hepburn and her son Sean on a snowy holiday in Switzerland, December, 1962. Unusual stewardess uniforms of Braniff International Airways, a psychedelic paradise, 1966. The wedding of actress Brigitte Bardot and director Roger Vadim, Paris, France, December 20th, 1952. Marilyn Monroe at Niagara Falls, 1953. We Want Change, the legendary Podolsk Rock Festival, 1987. Mick Jagger convincing Bob Dylan to break their strict diet. On this day in 1974, Ethiopia declared itself a socialist state. 10 years later, in 1984, a famine claimed 1 million lives. Santa in a helmet delivering gifts during the London Blitz, the bombings of Britain by Nazi Germany's Air Force. Thomas Edison demonstrated the functionality of the electric light bulb. Mick Jagger. Hello, I'm your auntie. The debut of the Tu-144, a Soviet supersonic passenger jet, Voronezh, USSR, 1972. Christmas shopping, London, 1936. A line to see the Treasures of Tutankhamun exhibit at the British Museum, London, UK, 1972. A family picnic, Tehran, Iran, 1970s. The key to a successful shopping trip, don't disturb the boss, Russia, 1990s. Happy holidays to you all, USA, 1970s. The Shah and Queen of Iran visiting Disneyland with Walt Disney, USA, 1962. December 21st, 1913, the first crossword puzzle was published in New York World, created by Arthur Wynne. The legendary David Gilmour of Pink Floyd on his favorite bike. Robert Wadlow, also known as the Alton Giant and the Giant of Illinois. Height, 8 feet 11.1 inches, 2.72 meters. Atlantic City Beach, 1905. A photographer from the 1950s. The Rolling Stones in 1960s. Frank Sinatra and Rocky Marciano, 1955. Shoeshine Boy, Napoli, 1950s. Victorian-era exercise machine. Venice, Italy, 1900s. Actress Helen Mirren in the 1970s. This mother-daughter duo look happy and at home during a motorcycle meet in Laconia, New Hampshire in 1947. Ford Model T, streetlight maintenance truck, 1926. Staged toboggan accident involving 3 women in bathing suits, Mount Rainier National Park, Washington, circa 1925. Vintage motorcycle, circa 1916. Shirley MacLaine checked in with the orchestra, 1958 Oscars rehearsal. A water cellar, Napoli, Italy, 1890. Elks Carnival in Pioneer Square, Seattle, Washington, 1902. Two young women playing billiards, circa 1903. Rita Hayworth's 28th birthday party in 1946 aboard Errol Flynn's yacht Zaka in Acapulco. From left is Flynn, his wife, Nora, Hayworth, the actress's husband, Orson Welles, an unidentified guest, and director William Castle, an employee tending at a Walgreens drugstore in Boise, Idaho, 1958. David Bowie in 1982. A women's bowling team poses on the front of Chevrolet in a showroom, San Francisco, California, 1945. Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward at home in Beverly Hills, 1958. Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta on the set of Grease, USA, 1977. Lower East Side Street scene, early 1900s, New York City. A rush for sweets after the end of rationing. United Kingdom, 1953. Photo by Grace Robertson. Robin Hood's Bay, North Yorkshire, England, late 1800s. Milton Hershey, an American chocolatier, philanthropist, and founder of the Hershey Chocolate Company.